February 17th, 2024, Winnacunnet School Board meeting to order. At this time, we're going to have our chamber singers come and join us, and they are going to sing our pledge, I believe. Yes, so we're going to go over there.
We're going to briefly kick you out of your seats while we...
There we go.
Absolutely.
Tenders, you can slide down a person. Yep. One more salon. Yep, that's good. And one more, please. Yep, and that here. There we go. All right, good evening. Glad to have the chamber singers here to perform for you. We're going to actually have you stand, and we're going to sing the Star Spangled Banner to open the meeting. Thank you. We usually get asked to sing for you during December. Unfortunately, December is a crazy month for these guys. I think they sang 10 times over the course of the month of December. Had a great time. Now they're in the last, the full chorus and the full band are in our last few fundraisers for our trip to Philadelphia. We'll be going to Philadelphia in April with both groups. We'll be going to, they'll be performing at the Liberty Bell Pavilion. They'll be visiting the Eastern States Penitentiary, and we'll be bringing them all back, I promise. They'll be touring downtown Philadelphia, and then we'll be finishing the trip on our way home with a day at Six Flags Great America in New Jersey. So looking forward to a great trip. So we're going to continue with another song that we did last season. Don't Worry, Be Happy, little Bobby McFerrin for you.
cash, ain't got no style, ain't got a gal to make you smile. Don't worry, be happy. When you worry, your face will frown, and that'll bring everybody down. So don't worry, be happy. Look at me, I'm happy. Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Thank you very much. We want to invite you to a couple events we've got coming up. We're doing a trivia night next Tuesday night. It's a fundraiser for Philadelphia. And then their next big performance is the Cabaret on February 15th. The theme is Carnival of the Animals. It's the band, chorus, chamber singers, jazz band, all animal-themed songs on February 15th. So we're going to finish with an arrangement that I did on request of a student years ago. A student sent me a YouTube video and said, hey, Mr. Moore, can we sing this? So I arranged it, and we have a lot of fun with this one. This is maybe the third time, I think, we've done it here at Winnacunnet. This is Peanut Butter and Jelly. Tanner's basically just back up one step.
Oh, we kind of can.
Oh, okay. Tanner's can.
We'll just go down like this.
And then make a window so you're not directly behind anybody.
I'm sorry.
Where is this one supposed to go?
I'm just gonna be over here. No. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Haley, come over here.
I can just go in the corner over there. That can be better.
I feel.
No, you're good.
You want to be in between these two?
Oh, well, I didn't
There we
know.
go. You gotta separate a little bit. There we go.
Wait, do I go there? Okay. And now
We're good at this.
We're great at this. Don't worry, we're professionals.
I passed a basic math class, I swear.
This is months ago.
We got it under control, guys.
Most professional.
The hard part is over. Now you can sing.
Perfect.
How do we do that again? That was the hard part.
All right, altos.
I don't know how to say words.
Altos. Everybody else. Here we go. One.
Oh, I'm peanut butter and you are jelly, and we're so happy on our little piece of bread. I remember the first time that I saw you sitting across the cupboard with your other jelly friends. And you're so sweet and I am chunky. You're low fat, well I'm working on that. 'Cause I'm peanut butter and you are jelly, and we're so happy on a little piece of bread. I meant grape and strawberry, but you're raspberry, and that's my favorite kind. Please forgive me for my stint with honey. I looked on the label and not at what was inside. 'Cause you're so sweet and I am chunky. You're low fat, well I'm working on that. 'Cause I'm peanut butter and you are jelly, and we're so happy on our little piece of bread. I'm so glad that I discovered you in the cupboard. I hope you're glad too. From now on, we'll be stuck together, but what could be better than being stuck with you? 'Cause you're so sweet and I am chunky. You're low fat, well I'm working on that. 'Cause I'm peanut butter and you are jelly, and we're so happy on a little piece of bread. We're so happy on a little piece of bread. We're so happy on a little piece of bread. Peanut butter
Thank you again for having us. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, guys.
Mark, could you repeat your fundraising dates one more time for the
Yes,
watching at home?
absolutely. The trivia night is on Tuesday, January 30th. It's actually not next week's week after. Tuesday, January 30th is the trivia night, and the cabaret is February 15th.
Great, thank you. Have a great trip.
Thank you. Oh, outside of class, working or performing? Oh, they put in at least a dozen to 20 extra hours, especially in the fall. Yeah.
Like 20, like a year or a month or,
I'd say over the course of a year. Yeah, yeah. A lot of service.
That's awesome. Thank you. All right. At this time, I'd like to call, we'll be opening the public hearing on acceptance of gifts. So we have a donation of an electronic sign valued at $60,000 from the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation. Yep. Do I have what?
It's coming next.
Comes next.
Right after this.
Yep. Did you need public? Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. Thank you for having us. My name is Philip Maltese, and I'm the president of the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation. With me is our vice president, Linda Libby, and also an associate from Jones and Beach who is helping us out, Miss Paige Libby, who has been instrumental in helping us with this presentation this evening. Perhaps you may not know for sure, but the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation has been in existence now for close to 20 years here. And I think back to the beginning and I'm saying, wow, that sure went by fast. I'm sure, like everything else in these day and ages. We started off with a fairly large group of parent volunteers who had students here at the school, and we worked to support our mission, which was to raise funds for educational additions to the education process that was not funded by the normal school budget. And we thought that through a grant process and applications that we would solicit from the teachers, students, or the administration, that we could support doing and funding these activities as time passed. We've been very successful with that and having quite a few grant applications, and have raised a considerable amount of money through the efforts of the volunteers that work on our committee. Our committee is fairly small now, and we certainly would welcome new additions from parents, and we'd certainly like members of the administration or the staff here at the high school to participate in our activities also. We've got some dedicated people that have just been hanging on, and we're certainly pleased to do that. Today we'd like to provide the high school with a donation for the funding of purchase and installation of a new electronic sign that we think would benefit the education process, the students here, the administration, and also the community of Hampton and other local towns that are contributors to the students here at the school. We've come up with a fabulous idea that I think was generated by Paige, that perhaps a student committee could be formed to managing the messages and take control with an advisor from the staff to put out the messages that are coming in the future, or to celebrate activities or events that have happened here at the school. And we think that this would be a great medium for them to get experience on public relations advertising, working electronic programs that would be a great additional process for further education. So with that, I'd like to present you with, let me grab some handouts with where we propose the location would be. We're looking at the entrance at Warrior Way. We know that the school has an electronic sign here on the campus. We thought this would serve the community and the school if it was installed out on Winnacunnet Road and the entrance of Warrior Way. And this is a rendition of what we've designed or had designed that
One leg collapsed. Oh no, you've gone the wrong way. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this lets you out right by the path, yeah.
So this is the existing building. So, I mean, this will be how high?
on the back you can see is our proposed design, which has an electronic message board screen that would be on both sides of the sign. The same with the Winnacunnet lettering would be on both sides. And this sign would be perpendicular to the road so that traffic coming from both directions would be able to see the message that would be projected on each side of the sign. We have planned for a specific height that we feel would be safe enough so that it would not obstruct the view of any traffic either coming along Winnacunnet Road or entering or leaving on Warrior Way. That was a big concern of our committee because the last thing we want to do is have something that would be detrimental to the heavy traffic that would occur at this point, this placement. On the rendition of the map, you can see that the existing monument, which is behind it, would stay. We wouldn't affect or do anything with that because we think that that's an important addition to the property. As you can see, it doesn't take up a lot of room, and it will be mostly on town property, which we've discussed this with the town of Hampton. We've applied for a building permit with them. We met with the planning board and the building department earlier today, and they are so far favorable to what we're proposing, with the recommendation that we now reach out to the abutters in the area and possibly have a public meeting with them to get their input, to explain to them what we're proposing, and get any ideas or concerns that they may have about this new addition at that location. This electronic sign is completely programmable. It's a cloud-based software, so it's very easy to manage. It can be done remotely, and there's certainly features that we believe with the technology nowadays that can adjust the illumination at certain times of the day so that it wouldn't be possibly something that the neighbors would object to. So we're hoping to work with them next, and the town is appears to be favorable in that we may not have to apply for a variance with the zoning board, and the permitting costs are going to be exempt since this is part of the school. Great. So we're looking forward to getting your approval on this donation. Our current cost is just over $60,000, and I suspect there may be additional costs for doing the electrical connections, which will be directly off the telephone pole that's in that location. So that's why our donation is stated as not to exceed approximately $65,000. We think we can cover all the cost of installation and the purchase of the material and have this hopefully sometime in the spring completed.
Great.
Do you have any questions or comments?
Tim or Nicole, do you guys have any questions on it?
I had one quick. Do you foresee there's gonna be like costs associated with this down the road that have to be planned for, or should not have any concerns like that?
I think a structure like this is self-sustaining and there's very minimal maintenance cost. The technology is all, I think, LED lighting now, which lasts for quite a long time, so I don't think there's going to be servicing problems. But if something like that occurs, I think a grant application might be able to cover the cost of that in the future.
Okay. Tim or anything?
Thank you. I think this is a fabulous idea. I'm glad to see all the generations coming together to celebrate and give to the community. That said, I've been to my fair share of planning board meetings. I'm from Northampton, and we have sign ordinances and night sky regulations and whatnot. And I would love to be able to just green light this, but I think it's very important to make sure that any communication with the town be vetted. I don't know how things work in Hampton, but generally that's kind of where things start. Just making sure that, and that seems to make things a little easier going forward. Along with what you were saying, I think anytime we have some sort of new apparatus, whether it be our greenhouse or our signs, it's important to involve our buildings and grounds folks, just so that they understand. I would imagine that any sort of servicing would default to them. If there were, electronics or components that needed to be produced, what might those types of issues be going forward? So anyway, I'm just trying to think through how we make this best happen and how we best be prepared. I guess I might be part Boy Scout, but I'm always
I totally agree.
I'm always trying to think about things. Whether you have been through this process, I don't know. I would love to hear maybe if what your plans might be for meetings. What can we talk about? A letter of intent. I'm not sure what the next steps might be.
Well, we certainly have already touched base with John Gamache
Okay.
here at the building, and we walked the site with him and Bill to at least look at the feasibility of this. And we're also, after talking with the building department, with Greg Arbonitis earlier today, we're planning on talking to the Hampton DPW and also go before the Board of Selectmen to get their approval.
Okay.
Because we want to keep everybody in the loop as to what's happening and make sure that if they have any suggestions or comments, we want to hear those in this planning stage.
Okay. All right.
But I would certainly appreciate that comment.
Sure. Thank you.
Do you have anything else you would like to add?
Do I need to come up to the mic?
Sure.
Yes,
Please.
Yeah, so just to add to that, there was some initial confusion as to whether or not we needed to go before the zoning board or the planning board or anything like that. So we did meet with Jason Bichon, who's the town planner, today. And he gave us this regulation. It's RSA section 674-54, which talks about the governmental land use. So schools, town halls, things of that nature are kind of exempt from zoning requirements. So although it's a residential zone and this type of sign wouldn't typically be allowed, it is allowed for a school. And you can see nearby examples like the sign for Hampton Academy, as well as the new library sign that just went in, I think this past year or maybe in 2022. So just to answer that first part of your question.
Thank you.
And Paige, what year did you graduate?
From here,
Mm-hmm.
2011.
Thank you. Love that.
Proud alumni.
Love that.
Linda, any comments from you?
Okay. Okay, then, you know what, Matt, can you fill in on what has been done up until now?
So Phil and the Friends of Winnacunnet and Paige have been exceptional as far as their communication, working with the school. We've had multiple meetings with John Gamache, with Bill, myself, as far as moving this forward, putting in the application. As Paige and Phil mentioned, we met with the town planner and building inspector today. So next steps in the process. So this evening it's being presented to the school board as a concept and for board approval as far as accepting this type of donation. Then we would move forward and we would make outreach to our neighbors, to the abutters. That's a very important step that we feel is necessary when we go through this type of process where it is a new structure that that people could have a strong opinion on. It's very visible on a major street. So we want to engage with the neighbors, get their feedback, solicit their any type of suggestions that they may have, and have them as part of the process before we Phil puts in the order.
Yeah.
So it's very important for us to be good neighbors and ensure that we have all the stakeholders involved. At which point, once we do that, I think we'd be bringing it forth to the select board for their approval, and then move forward. So Friends of Winnacunnet have been really good about involving us in this process. And I'll also note just how generous this gift is. So thank you to the Friends of Winnacunnet. It's really nice to have these type of organizations that support Winnacunnet. So.
Great, thank you. Any other comments from the board? No? So at this time, and we have a second gift that we'll speak on again, because we won't be voting on this until our meeting. Okay, this is just the public hearing on it, okay? So then our next one is a donation for an outdoor pavilion valued at $55,000 from the Winnacunnet Alumni Association. And would Terry or Matt, who would like to speak on it? Matt, Matt gets it, okay.
So I mean, it's pretty incredible that we just had a proposal for a donation of an electronic sign, and in the same breath we have a donation from the Winnacunnet Alumni Association. They are proposing a erection of a pavilion, an outdoor pavilion, that's valued at $55,000. We currently do erect a temporary pavilion in that same spot, but this would be permanent and really would be a great benefit to the community. So thank you very much to the Friends of, the Winnacunnet Alumni Association. So be happy to answer any questions. And
is it going to be like a concrete bottom with like a wood, kind of like a picnic pavilion at like a state park? Is that the idea of it?
Similar. There'll be a concrete base, and then it'll be a wooden structure similar to.
They're also looking at, for the base, to put pavers in, so if people want to donate pavers and have their names on the pavers, they're looking at pavers.
Yeah, that'd be a nice idea. Okay. Any questions on that one?
And could you, I'm sorry, you probably mentioned this, could you clarify where?
Outside the calf.
Just kind of where, I think I know.
Yeah, so what would be the best description of that location, Bill?
So as you exit the dining hall,
Sure.
as you enter the dining hall from the rear of the building is to the right between the dining hall and the overhead door. So
Right. Right.
In the past, in the summer, the fall, we usually have a tent set up that we've
Okay,
been
that's,
renting.
that's what I was assuming, yeah, about that size.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're gonna put tables under there like
Correct.
has
Yep,
been,
yep,
yeah.
yeah. So it'll be, full year, 24/7 picnic area.
I like it.
I like our
Can we do
learning
fire pits for the
Yeah,
winter?
put a
It'll be
fire
great.
pit in the middle.
I wanted to add something, and Bill can probably comment. The school for the last number of years, I don't know how many years, 5 maybe, I don't know, since COVID probably, I'm not sure. They've been paying to rent a tent there, which is pretty costly.
Yeah.
Bill, do you know the exact figure? It's like 10,000, 15,000.
It's between $5,000 to $7,000 each time we rent it.
Oh, every year they've been paying that money.
Right.
It's only part of the year. But I can tell you that it's very popular with the kids. A lot of kids don't want to eat in the calf and they want to find their own space. So it's very popular for the kids to go out there. And also, I have been out there many times. On a nice day, teachers take their classrooms out there and we sit there and we read outside or whatever. That was
Yeah.
nice here. But it's a very popular spot. And this is going to beautify it and make it long-lasting. Yeah, so it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about both these items. I mean, I know I've been working with Phil for several years, doing a sign and, funding sources and stuff like that. And, since COVID, when we put the tent out there, we found out how valuable that was for the student spaces. So we are very fortunate for these two organizations, and thank you very much for allowing us to be able to put these things in place. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Any other questions from the, no? Okay. Then at this point, does anybody else want to speak?
I just wanted to, so is this the beginning of the
Oh, open public comment.
You're gonna close the public hearing.
Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing. Now I'm going to open public comment at 7:03. Oh, that one, okay. All right, at 7:03. So do we have any public comment? So Linda would, thank you.
So I just wanted to take this opportunity, since I was here, as part of these two organizations, which I started here in 2004, same year as Bill. I left a year ago, but have been involved heavily in both of these organizations that are near and dear to my heart. Phil and I, we started together with the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation in 2005 with the beginning of that new edition. I just wanted to tell you that we, as part of Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation, we did award a fall grant, and I wanted to make sure you knew about it. Bill probably put it in your report. But we did award one grant to our loan applicant, which was the J. ROTC program, and that was $1,425 to the J. ROTC program for a J. ROTC, MCJ ROTC, I'm probably not saying that right, Marksmanship Program Safety and Training Support. So we're pleased that they felt like they needed something and they applied at something above and beyond the normal budget, and it's going to really enhance their program. They told me the other day that they were very excited about it. And then Phil and I went and met with the staff meeting. Bill allowed us to speak to the staff and to encourage the teachers, students, faculty, anyone can apply for a grant, even students. That beautiful ceramic display in the dining hall was done by a student, Emerson Coburn. So we just want to put the word out there, and the grant applications for the spring are due February 16th. I'm the person that coordinates the grants and then submits them all to the board for voting on. But I just wanted to let you know that. And to date, the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation has donated with this fall grant over $90,000 since we started in 2005.
That's wonderful.
So that's a pretty exciting number.
It is.
I remember when Jack Ford was here, we were just hoping to get to 50.
Is there
50,000 raised.
Is there an amount of each grant, or is it just, it's an open?
It's
You
open.
can ask for what you want.
You could ask for 100, you can ask for 3,000.
Okay.
And we
perfect.
tell people, don't be discouraged, because I'll never forget, Don Foote applied 3 times, and on the 3rd time, it had to do with timing and weather and whatever, but Donnie Foote applied for a set of classroom snowshoes so that the kids could go out and do a lifelong activity. and have fun. I'll never forget the kids playing Frisbee in snowshoes. And it was a great grant, and on the third time he received the grant. So we tell people never to be discouraged. We do prefer things to be sort of durable goods, meaning long-lasting, can be used over and over and over again. The equipment is owned by the school. Whatever is given is owned by the school. They would consider a field trip. I remember Kathy Silver applied for a field trip, and we did pay for that. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
And we're always looking for parents, community members to volunteer and be part of our group. We don't have a lot to do. We're just giving money away, which is great.
It's kind of a nice group. I like that.
And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is that we have a really big special event on Monday night, which I did send out this to everybody. We are honoring 2 of our young men who passed away while serving our country, and we had a walk around with Bill and the rest of the group and the team and the JROTC program the other day to plan for it. But it's a really important thing, and and I just want to reiterate again from the bottom of my heart, I think it is really important to keep building on that alumni connection. As you can see, they are invaluable to us, these young alumni and our alumni, because just such a great thing, especially for our ELO program. So that's all I wanted to say.
Great. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Question? Actually, just a request, maybe of you, Linda, or you, Paige, since you're probably a person who's a little bit more connected to social media. As these projects come along, as they develop, would you please take pictures? I think it would be just wonderful if we could help promote your organizations as well as the school, as well as giving to the community. And sometimes it's just a matter of snapping a few pictures, saving them, and then when the opportunity comes, to share it with the public, whether it be the newspaper, websites, online, or however you want to do it. So if you would just file that away into your to-do list. Thanks for that. Oh, sure. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, all of you. I appreciate it. And we'll be voting further down, correct? Correct. Right now, we will go to, we've already had our chamber singers. Thank you to them. We have Winnacunnet Pride.
All right. So to start this week, we're hosting a Spirit Week as our student council for the winter extra week. So the Spirit Days we have throughout the week is Pajama Day was yesterday. Today was Twin Day, and then tomorrow we have Tropical Day, and then Friday is Class Color Day. And so far participation has been good. It's not as impressive as it was in the fall, just because the winter Spirit Week isn't as pronounced as in the fall, but we're happy with what we've seen. And then as for the games that are, for sports that are happening throughout the week, wrestling was last Saturday at Exeter, and then tonight is girls varsity hockey, and then tomorrow it's girls and boys JV basketball, and then Friday are the big games with girls and boys varsity basketball here. And then the sophomore class is hosting a winter semi-formal dance on January 27th from 7 to 9 so that they can start fundraising for their prom. And it's a school-wide event, so they're hoping that it goes well. And then NHS just selected their new inductees, so in March they'll be inducted. And then the Animal Action Club, their animal supply drive is ending 2 weeks from now. But yeah.
Great. Thanks, Luke. Minutes. We have, do I have a motion to approve minutes from December 20th? Were you both here for the 20th? You were, right? Okay, so we've got a quorum on that. We
Yeah,
can
I
vote.
missed a budget.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, but this one we can.
The minutes don't look like they're in there, though.
Yeah, they're not.
Nope, they're not. You're right. Well, we can just table that until next time.
Definitely.
Yep.
Apologies.
30 lashes with a wet noodle. Okay. Then we're gonna move on to superintendent's report.
Yes. So coming up next Wednesday is a meeting with our local legislators, and I don't know if you all saw today, there was an update from the School Board Association about some legislation pertaining to SAU and cooperative school districts, so just maybe worth a read. If you didn't see that, I think those are being heard next Monday at Legislative Office Building in Concord. There are more than 200 bills pertaining to education being tracked in our state legislature right now, and we are doing our best to kind of categorize them and be able to speak to them a little bit at that session with our legislators on the 24th, just to frame the big picture topics. Joint board is coming up on the 29th, so the operations committee will meet next week to set that agenda, and then policy will be meeting on the 22nd. I know Tamara will be attending the OC and Nicole will be attending the policy committee meeting. And then I shared with you school district filing information. So the filing window for school district positions opens next Wednesday, the 24th of January, and it is open until Friday, February 2nd at 5 p.m. And Winnacunnet School District has a 3-year term position that is currently open, Leslie's position, and then budget committee member from Hampton, budget committee member, large budget committee member, and I believe.
And school board of Nicole.
Oh,
too.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
sorry. I read right by that.
Yep. I know, because it
It's
could
the
down, it goes
first thing on
positions
there,
open,
so I
then one,
skipped the
yeah.
line,
Yep.
And Nicole's seat is also open. So the Hampton seat, the at-large seat, and then budget committee member from Hampton and an at-large budget committee member. So again, if you're interested in those, the filing window opens next Wednesday. And is available until February 2nd, and you can contact the school district clerk, Shirley Doheny, at the Hampton Town Office on that. Happy New Year.
That's it. Good girl.
That's it.
Thank you. All right, any questions for the superintendent? All right, so our curriculum and instruction and assessment report is in there.
Yes, though Dr. Hobbs wanted me to be sure to point out that you are currently leading the charge in completing recertifications. So you have the highest percentage thus far here at Winnacunnet. So
We like that.
congratulations.
And we're leading it by a lot, too. Right? 43%, so that's good.
They have a good leader that has to get his
That's it.
certification done too.
That's why, I like it. Student services,
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I had a
go ahead,
question.
sorry.
Excuse me, I may have missed something, but I recall back in, I believe maybe it was November, we were told to expect some sort of presentation on Portrait of a Learner in January.
That's at the joint board meeting
Joint
on
board.
January 29th.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
good, and you?
Good to see you. Quickly for me this evening, I just wanted to bring to your attention that the levels of acute respiratory illness are high across our state and in our county in particular. And so we're feeling that at our schools. Our nurses are doing a wonderful job. It's a good opportunity to remind families and staff that back in August, this past August of 23, the state of New Hampshire published a school toolkit for acute respiratory illness. It's a great guide, includes lots of reminders for families and for staff in terms of how they can help with reducing the spread. You know, we're seeing lots of cold, lots of flu, even COVID. So it's a good opportunity just to remind everybody about washing hands all the time and, you know, using all of those precautions that we have. So the toolkit is linked in your report, and for anyone who would like to have it at their fingertips, and we'll keep monitoring. The map that's in there was the last week of December, and so you can see that where we were at that time. So hopefully we're going to be on the downward trend. But our nurses are doing a really incredible job trying to keep everybody healthy, so.
That's awesome.
Just want to say thank
Mary,
you
is
to
that
them.
link on our website also, like on the SAU or the Winnacunnet website?
I didn't put it there, but I think that's a very good idea to link that toolkit.
I think I
we'll
would.
do that
Yep.
under the, yeah. We have a section with COVID information, so.
I think that would
we
be a
can
really
add
good
that
idea.
toolkit there.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll do that this week.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for that.
No problem. Anybody else?
I'll include that also in my principal's message.
Okay, that it's gonna be added there. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
I just had a question. I've been following some of the proposed legislation regarding special education in New Hampshire, and I've seen a proposal for funding increases, something like from $4,000 to $28,000
Yes.
a student. And I wondered if you could just, if you have any comment on that. I believe it has something to do with an insurance-based system that would fund it. I don't know if you have any insight, or it's just too early.
I don't have any inside information about it. I know that there are, lots of proposals, and I think what they're trying to bring to light is the fact that, and we talked about this last year at one point when I presented to you, when IDEA was first initiated, there was a promise from the federal government that they were going to fund up to 40% of what it costs to educate a child with disabilities, because there was an indication that it was going to cost more. That promise has never been realized. So we're lacking a lot. And so the states have had to, and the communities and the towns have had to lift the burden. So this piece that New Hampshire is talking about is to sort of equalize among the districts, like small communities, very small towns are hit significantly if they have an out-of-district placement, can cost upwards of $200,000 for one student. So, that's what they're trying to equalize. They're trying to say the state should provide increased funding to communities to sort of equalize that. How that gets decided, in our state in terms of how taxes are collected and, how it impacts tax rates and all of those things. So that's yet to be determined.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was might be coming from the trust fund, or, like I said, I've heard something about insurance plans, and I'm, just new. It's a
Yes,
new
yeah.
concept. But
Yeah, it
if
came
you could
about as there
track
was a
that for
study
us,
that was done that has been getting some attention, and that study really sort of highlighted the fact that, the federal government never made good on that promise to fund special ed at the levels that they said they were going to. And so this has placed a burden on states and cities and towns, especially those that are smaller, and that they are incurring these costs. So, that report is quite interesting. We'll see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. And our principal's report, Bill?
Good evening. So next Thursday, the Winnacunnet ELO program will be recognized by the Hampton Chamber of Commerce as the Faith in the Future. They'll receive we will receive the Faith in the Future award. We have a table of 8. Several of the school board members will be there, so it'll be a good evening. And that's at the Blue Ocean Event Center from 5 to 8. Also on Sunday, March 24th, the NEAS Visiting Committee arrives to do the visitation, the accreditation visit. That will take place on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we're preparing everything for them. So again, it's just a reflection of what we've been doing for the last 10 years, and mostly the last couple of years, and it ties into the Portrait of the Learner, which is one of the areas that we had to focus on. So we're looking forward to that visit. The one thing I do need from the school board, you have a choice, and I don't need an answer tonight, but they will arrive Sunday, March 24th, and they do want to talk to the school board members. They can do it Sunday evening via Zoom. We can figure out what time, or we can schedule a time Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So I'll send some information out directly just for that, to get some feedback as far as that.
Okay.
Then 3 of our staff members, Jay Miller, a math teacher, Tanya Fegan, guidance counselor, and Julie Hall, technology integration educator. As part of the professional development, they investigated how do we raise awareness about the impact of social media and technology using cell phones and things like that. So they're looking to, we're going to have a look-up campaign where it's going to be Unplugged Challenge that we're going to ask everybody. It's going to be voluntary on February 21st to step away from their cell phones and unplug. Clearly you see a lot of literature and research on the impact the cell phones have been having. So it's not only the students, it's also adults and staff, so it's going to be school-wide, so we'll be providing more information on that. And they did make a presentation last week to the full staff, so we'll move forward.
So it might be a good board presentation in February as well, so
Yep,
the public
yep.
can hear.
Well, that'd be great.
Donations, will be coming up further in the evening. Enrollments are pretty steady, and then upcoming events and activities. Tomorrow night is trimester 2 parent conferences, which means that we're halfway through the school year. Next Tuesday, we have no school. We will be having the presidential primary election here. As Luke had mentioned, a week from Saturday, we have the winter semi-formal dance. And then we will be, in February, we have the class of 2028 cost selection night. And then, as Mr. Moore had mentioned, we've got the Winnacunnet Cabaret shows here on Thursday, February 15th. And not looking too much forward to it. On Monday, February 26th, we have winter break.
Yay. All right, thank you. Matt, sorry, anybody have any questions for Bill?
Just study.
All right, thanks, Luke, good luck.
Missed out, Luke. This is the best part.
Don't feel bad he left right at your part.
Yeah.
Revenue, expenditure.
It's funny how that always aligns.
Something trust the fund.
Thank you. So this evening, as I typically do at our monthly meetings, I'll review where we stand on this current FY24 budget. But I also want to touch upon looking forward to next year, fiscal year 25, as we are in the midst of the budget development or budget season, as I like to call it. So for this year, we have FY24. I've included both the expenditure and a revenue report on board docs. On the expenditure side, we are in line on budget. However, there are a few accounts that I want to point out to you that we are monitoring. On the special education side, Mary just mentioned some of the costs and some of the challenges that we face with special education costs. That can be a volatile account. We are seeing an overage of $500,000 for our special education department, including special education transportation. I want to note that we do have a special education expendable trust. That is an area that we will continue to monitor. If those expenditures continue and we don't have savings elsewhere in the budget, we can utilize that trust should we need to and make a withdrawal. And that's the purpose of that trust, is to safeguard us against these unanticipated costs. Additionally, we do have our vocational education tuition account over budget by $40,000. So that's for our tuition for SST, which it's one of those situations where it's good news, bad news. So obviously we never want to be over budget. However, what that indicates is we are seeing higher enrollments or participation for students attending SST than we had anticipated. So that's great news. Additionally, we're seeing our other transportation account over budget by almost $65,000. This is an area, this is another highly variable account. This is primarily due to transportation costs relating to McKinney-Vento. So McKinney-Vento applies to students who are homeless, and we are required by federal law to transport those students. I will note that there is some cost shares there with depending on where the student is residing. But that is a cost that can fluctuate from year to year. And finally, I just want to note that our health insurance account is over budget by $71,000. If you recall, when we budgeted for this current fiscal year 24, we had under budgeted health insurance. It's owing to our receiving the guaranteed maximum rate, so the GMR, in October when we budget, but not getting the actual health insurance premiums until March. So what we do is we typically will hedge a little bit and under budget that account, hoping that rate comes down. or that other factors may reduce those costs, maybe election changes or turnover in staff. Because we're afforded that luxury due to the health insurance expendable trust. So these are some of these levers that we can pull so we can under budget, reduce the tax burden, but have that safeguard with the health insurance expendable trust should we need to. So that's another account that we'll continue to monitor as we go through the remainder of the school year. Towards the end of spring, end of the school year, we'll determine if we have a need to make any withdrawals from these trusts. But currently we are tracking well, so I think I'm hopeful that we do not need to make any withdrawals. And then I just want to note on the revenue side, we're starting to see receipt of revenue come in. You'll see that on the expenditure report. So you'll see the assessments from the various towns. So that's the each member town that of Winnacunnet Cooperative, their apportionment to the district, as well as other revenue sources such as banking interest. We'll start to see Medicaid reimbursement come in. We'll see special education aid come in later in the year, our adequacy aid come in. But those will continue. Those are lagging, so we'll see that as the school year comes. So that is FY24, this current school year. But the exciting new school year, already looking forward to next September, is budget year for FY25. So as the school board is aware, excruciatingly aware, through the multiple 3-hour meetings that we had to review the budget and provide a proposal for an operating budget and warrant articles, we have a school board approved budget and warrant articles that has gone to the budget committee, and the budget committee has similarly reviewed and adopted the operating budget and warrant articles. And this past week, we just had a public hearing where the budget committee presented their adopted operating budget and warrant articles to the community for public comments. The next step in the process will be the deliberative session. That's in February. And then once the deliberative session concludes, they'll be voting the second Tuesday in March. So I just want to note a few items relating to the budget. So this was a challenging budget year. We had some headwinds when it came to costs. One was health insurance. We saw a very large health insurance premium increase. Our special education costs, as highlighted in this current year, overages are continuing into next year, much of which is out of district placements for students that are where we pay tuition for an out of district school. And then we also had some significant transportation costs. That being said, Principal McGowan and his team, along with the school board and budget committee, took great care in looking at where else could we save, where could we reduce. We really took a hard look at every account, any discretionary area, because we had these large contractual, legally mandated costs that were out of our control, and we were able to bring forth what I would say is a very fiscally responsible operating budget for next year. So thank you to all of you who were involved. In addition to the operating budget, we have 3 warrant articles. We have our normal annual HVAC replacements warrant article. That's for $400,000. That is part of the 20-year HVAC replacement plan to maintain our HVAC and really normalize costs over the long term, so we don't see large fluctuations from year to year due to large HVAC replacements. Additionally, we have a roof replacement project. This is a very large project. This is a multi-year project. So this year one is $975,000. We are replacing the entire main building roof and the gymnasium roof over the course of the next 3 summers. So this is phase 1. Next year, we're aligning our funding of the remaining projects with the expiration of the bond. That way, we can keep costs neutral and have minimal impact on our taxpayers. In any event, this is a very important project. Obviously, I think we're all aware of how important roofing is and what exorbitant costs we could face should roofing systems fail and we end up having leaks and damage to the building, damage to the or wetness to the insulation, which would in effect increase that roofing project by I think it's 50 to 60% if we have to replace all the insulation underneath. So those are the first 2 warrant articles. The third warrant article I saved for last because this is near and dear to my heart and is exceptionally important as far as school operations, both at Winnacunnet and our K-8 schools. This is our CESPA collective bargaining agreement. This is the contract for our paraprofessionals, our educational associates who are in our classrooms every day, working with our teachers, supporting our students, providing an invaluable service to ensure that our students get a top-notch education. At the K-8 level, these professionals are working with our lower grade levels, so K through 2, to ensure that our students are receiving some of those foundational early literacy and math skills. In addition to that, they're working with our special education students, whether it's one-to-one or in groups, and providing a service at a rate of pay that's currently not competitive. So we are paying these incredibly important professionals $15 an hour to $19 an hour, and that's simply not competitive to area school districts and other businesses in our community. This has become a huge problem. We're having great difficulty hiring these employees. We're seeing turnover rates of between 30 and 40%. Simply put, we need to have the ability to hire high quality educational associates and keep them. It's incredibly important that, it can be very important that we have consistency, particularly when you're looking at special education, where we have the employees that are here for more than 3 months or 6 months until they find a higher paying job. So this is a challenge when we bring forth a CBA to our voters, because it needs to pass in all of our districts. So should this CBA warrant article fail in any one of our ballots, whether it's Winnacunnet, Seabrook, Northampton, Hampton Falls, or Southampton, it will fail across the board. And that would be devastating, because if it fails, that means we have a status quo contract for our paraprofessionals, and they will receive no cost of living adjustment and no step increase, further exasperating the compensation issue. One last issue that we're facing is not only compensation, but a benefits issue. We currently only offer a single person plan in our lowest cost health insurance offering for these employees. So what this proposed CBA will offer is a pay increase of $2 an hour in years 1 and 2, $1 an hour in years 3 and 4, and a two-person health plan in year 3 and a family plan in year 4. We hope that these changes will greatly assist us in the hiring and retention of these employees. With that, I will step off my soapbox, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's a good soapbox. It's definitely good. I mean, to piggyback on that, without that staff in our schools, the only people that are gonna suffer are our students. And that's why it's so important to get out and vote for it. These people are, amazing, and without them, our schools will not function. So we need to compensate them. So I'm 100% for it, and I really hope that the public is also.
I forgot one very important note on this. This is a very modest warrant article. So for Winnacunnet, the cost for this warrant article is $58,000 in year one. So a relatively modest warrant article that will create huge benefits and returns for these employees and for our school operations.
A couple things. Matt, I just want to thank you. I mean, I've been privy to a couple of presentations, whether they be at a different school district or, you know, groups of teachers or parents who talk about your conviction on these issues, and just know that it's very much noted and appreciated. And I think as we move forward, your capacity to communicate has been so crucial. And so I just want to thank you for doing that. And just sort of to piggyback on the benefits piece of that, when I think about the students that are empowered through the use of support staff, they're vulnerable kids, and I think the last thing we should be entertaining is cutting health benefits of the very people who help these kids get to the education table. I mean, I'm a proponent of trying to not only do the minimum, but I think we should be thinking about ways to add to their benefit, at least their healthcare package, in order to keep our kids safe and healthy. And because if one of them isn't able to show up for work, it has a huge impact. And so anyway, these are points that I think are important to. I don't know if it's possible, again, beating the drum around communication, if there's some way we can, before the election, get word out about just some of the crucial components of this warrant article. It may be one of the lowest ones that we're voting on. You gotta take care of your roof, but you gotta take care of the people who help the vulnerable kids. So I would just hope that, I know you do a lot online. I see you, your posts a lot. And if you can, in your framing information to the audience out there, I think it's going to be crucial.
Well, that's going to be, you're absolutely right, because that's going to be one of my top priorities over the next couple of months, is that messaging and communication out to the public. I know you are all very excited, but I will be starting production shortly on a informational video on the CESPA CBA. I know you all enjoyed
We do. We look forward to
the world premiere of the Teachers
Love it.
CBA last year.
TikTok.
But we will, I mean, in all seriousness, I will be putting out a video that will go through the entire CBA, all the components embedded in the CBA, and the impact and what it means to the school. We'll also be including information, PowerPoint, the video, the actual tandem agreements, on the website, on social media. I harangue Principal McGowan and all the other principals about posting or reposting my posts, and they do a really good job of doing so, as well as Dr. Hobbs at the SAU, because he runs the SAU Twitter accounts.
I think we can get them on the town ones too, can't we, on the town websites, the informational ones, like Channel 22, they could run the loop, things like that. I know Northampton has their channel, Hampton has theirs.
I know we sent them out to the towns last year. Some of them ran it, some of them didn't. So it's hit or miss. I think there's different philosophy as to
Right.
what they'll run.
Okay.
I try not to be, I try to be impartial,
Yes.
but some
He's
people
looking at
may think otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is truly informational.
Right.
But that is a big task, to your point, Tamara, for me, is to ensure that it gets out, because people need to be educated on what this is and why they need to go out to vote and consider this type of warrant article.
You
So-
know what, maybe even to, the paper part of it that we always have too, dropping it in at the local libraries.
Yes, that's an easy
Yeah,
thing to do. So
just thinking of other, like, public places where
please,
the rec center.
so these are
those kind of
great
things.
ideas. If you think of anything else as far as getting the word out,
Yeah.
please shoot me an email. I will do anything it takes to get the word out. So if you have any ideas, things that I'm not doing, please let me know.
I think you could stand in the town square and, you know.
Things that I'm willing to do, that is.
You are always willing to do everything, Matt, so we totally appreciate it. We really do.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We're gonna close public comment.
Yep, we're gonna close public comment at this point, seeing none other, it'll be closed at 7:43. Do you have 7:43 on yours? 74, yeah. Thank you. Our facilities report is in there. Anybody had any questions on those? Go to continuing business, which is education-related legislature and state board of education regulations.
So again, I mentioned that we have our meeting with local legislators next week. Just to follow up on Tamara's comment about bills related to special education, there are several, but 3 specific to funding. One is to form a study committee to look at costs. If I were a betting person, I would say that's the one most likely to pass at this juncture.
Yes.
The other 2 is the one that you, that one is HB 1176. The other 2 are the one that you mentioned, HB 1656, which is about raising that cost of reimbursement to each district based on the number of students who qualify for special education to roughly $27,000, and that would be paid from the Education Trust Fund.
Okay, that's what I was curious about that.
But I'm not sure how sustainable that is, and they don't really have a good estimate of what that, well, they say they don't yet have an estimate of what that cost is, but we do a special ed count every year that is reported to the state and federal government.
Yeah.
And then the third one is HB 1670, which would require the state to reimburse districts for 95% of the cost for each individual child's special education program. That one a little bit harder to calculate, although again, the state does have access to the individual education plans for every child in the state through the statewide database system, so they probably could make a rough approximation for that. But again, if I were to bet this year, I think they're most likely to form a study commission of any of those 3 to really explore ways to more sustainably fund special education. But I think the good news is that there is some recognition that special education costs are, to Dr. Toomey's point, unsustainable for small districts in particular, but for any district, right? Those costs far exceed the average per pupil cost, and we have an obligation to provide those. And so districts need some additional support to be able to meet their obligation. And I know Representative Porcelli from Hampton Falls also introduced a bill to push federal to increase their funding as well. Again, we know how those processes work. It's a slow process, but I do appreciate that recognition is being brought to it because it is a large part of our operating budget, and worth every penny of our work, and it's our obligation to students to make sure they receive a free, appropriate public education with the supports and services they need to be able to access their education. And it has a significant burden to our taxpayers.
Tamara, did you have any updates on anything that you've seen?
No, there's just inside baseball. These things kind of ebb and flow, but I think the important thing is, you know, as you mentioned, is to just keep pushing, just be persistent, because as long as it's on the agenda, as long as it's on the table, it's not gonna go away. And I think as, you know, educators, we are in a position to really be the change makers. So just rock on.
NEASC update. That'd be Bill.
Ken already did it.
Yeah, you already did it, so we're done.
So we're done.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. I apologize.
No, yeah, so I included my principal report, but I will be
Right.
sending some information just to get confirmation as far as
Okay.
when is a good time, if we do that Sunday or not.
Right, okay. So we're on to new business. So the acceptance of the gift, we have, the electric sign for, not to exceed the 65. So I think, they need us to approve it before they'll go and do everything else. So it's that step, you know, like you had said, you know, Tamara, you brought it up too, about the, making sure they did all the other stuff. This has to come first. So, if everybody is in agreement, I would accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of an electric sign from the Friends of Winnacunnet Foundation with an estimated value not to exceed $65,000 to be placed at the entrance of Warrior Way.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And just to reiterate that point, right, you're accepting this on the premise that.
On the premise.
Right, it
Right.
gets
Yeah.
approved by
Yeah,
all those
then we
other
do all the
sources.
approvals, yeah.
We're certainly not going to install something without support of the select board and community.
Okay. All those in favor? Great, thank you. The next one is the, donation for the outdoor pavilion. I'm excited about this one too.
Yeah, that one
So,
sounds
it's
good.
just, I think it's awesome. So I could accept a motion for that one?
The only thing we need to change, just to make sure that it's correct, because it's the Hampton Academy / Winnacunnet Alumni Association
In the motion.
in the motion, so.
So what would you like it to say from
So,
outdoor pavilion from?
from the Hampton Academy / Winnacunnet Alumni Association.
I'll make the motion are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. I'm gonna motion to accept the donation of an outdoor pavilion from the Hampton Academy Winnacunnet Alumni Association Foundation with an estimated value of $55,000.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor? Great. These are awesome.
Again, just huge appreciation to both
Tons.
these organizations.
Very
These are
generous.
very significant.
It is, these are huge gifts to the school, which also who it's coming from is just. I missed it.
I'm sorry,
Oh.
I'm like, we need to talk about it, we need to talk about it, we need to
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
celebrate it.
Celebrate it,
Yeah.
absolutely, like, I want a big party, I want everything when it comes up.
We cut a
Ribbon
ribbon
cutting.
at the pavilion.
Yes, oh, yeah, there should be definitely a,
And a sign.
I
yeah,
want a giant scissors.
yes. Exactly.
And you're all invited to the alumni annual meeting in June.
There we go, they should have it there, right? Under the pavilion, if it's done. Okay, our next one is, Hampton Rotary donation, right?
So they provided $3,000 to several different clubs and teams, yearbook, baseball, tennis, golf, astronomy, chess, and student council. They had reached out to me back in October, November, if there's anything that clubs or teams needed that we didn't have, so sent information out. Those are the teams and clubs that responded, and they funded some of the requests.
Great, thank
Nice.
them, that's lovely. So could I have a motion to accept the donation?
I'll go for it. Motion to accept the donation of $3,000 from the Hampton Rotary to provide supplies and equipment in support of the following teams and clubs: yearbook, baseball, tennis, golf, astronomy, chess, and student council.
Thank you, and the second? Perfect. All those in favor? Great, thank you to the Hampton Rotary.
And then just, I update on the chess club, next week, they're having, Seabrook, Middle School up here to have their chess match,
That's
similar
right.
to what they did last year.
Nice.
And
That's gonna be
then
fun.
a couple weeks ago, they did compete at a tournament, up at Dover High School and did very well, so.
That's great, I love it. The next one we have from the Venture Schmid Family Foundation, is that correct?
$500, which is also a matching fund, to support our students in need.
Love it, very generous. I have a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of $500 from the U.S. Venture / Schmidt Family Foundation for the Students in Need Fund.
We have a thing going.
oh, do you? Yeah. I love it. Great, all those in favor? Yep, thank you.
We love money.
We do love it, thank you. This is, think about what we just accepted as gifts to the school. I think this is amazing.
$123,500.
Thank you very much, because I don't do numbers, so great. That's
Can I-
huge, right?
Just a small request for consideration that perhaps on the, maybe we already do this summer, on the graduation program or at some event, we list all the people who have donated this year,
that'd be
to
nice.
Winnacunnet.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a way to signal to the community that they're appreciated, that it might inspire other groups to participate.
No, I was thinking the same thing, because I don't think there's a month that I don't bring forward.
Right.
Yeah.
We've always been,
donations,
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to keep track of what we,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can,
You could put it in our electronic signs.
we could, thank you to
Right.
this,
Yeah.
right? Wouldn't that be cool? Like, it
Beautiful.
should be coming underneath the donations,
Donations
line.
this month, but
Mhm.
they get a month of.
Right. I think it's great. Well, we definitely have to get that out. I agree with you. All right, perfect. Our next is primary voting day. There'll be no school on the 23rd, so we need a motion to say no school.
I'll do that one.
Okay.
Motion to not have school on Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024, due to the presidential primary.
Just one quick question. Was it not on the original calendar? And
It was
that's why
not,
we have
because
to
the
do it?
primary date was not set at that
Oh,
time.
okay.
So we had regular voting day typically on the calendar, the March voting day is on the calendar, but because the presidential primary date had not been set, we couldn't really
Okay.
determine when that would fall.
And it's for both staff and students, just because it
Exactly.
wasn't
Oh.
said, we needed.
Right, we have to set it
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Okay.
You want to second it?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did
I
already?
We
Oh,
had
you're
a
already
thing.
doing that thing? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you. Thank you. Then we have the award of HVAC upgrades.
So, the bid process has concluded for the proposed annual HVAC replacement project. Bids were sent directly to 6 qualified vendors, with 2 attending the walkthrough and 3 submitted bids. So we are recommending award of bid to Palmer and Sickard in the amount of $229,915 for the HVAC upgrades project. So this will be funded via the proposed warrant article that will be going on the ballot this spring. And obviously this is contingent upon that warrant article passing. I'll also note you may notice that isn't the full amount of the warrant article. That's because the remaining portion of the warrant article of this HVAC project is controls. So that's our controls through Siemens, and that's a pretty large piece in this particular phase of the project. So.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll make a motion, oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. To award the bid for HVAC upgrades to Palmer and Sickard in the amount of $22,900. No, I'm sorry, that's bad math. $229,915.
I'll second.
A lot of numbers.
All those in favor?
Lots of numbers.
They were lots of numbers. Thank you. And then our cafeteria tables.
Yes, so the bid process has also concluded for our proposed cafeteria tables purchase. Bids were sent directly to 6 qualified vendors and 10 submitted bids. So that's kind of an anomaly sometimes because
How did that happen?
we qualify bidders and we send them directly to those vendors, but we also post them, and then some publications also pick up our bids. Oftentimes they do, and they'll publish them. So for these type of RFPs, where it's more commodity type of purchases as opposed to a project where there's labor and you're like an HVAC project, you tend to get a larger number of bids. So this purchase is part of our food service surplus reduction plan. As you recall, we had some excess food service funds, and we are required to keep that at 3 months, 3 months expenditure levels. So this will bring us back in line to the balance that we should be at, which is 3 months expenditures.
Is this all the tables or just a portion?
This is all the tables. So the issue that we've had with our cafeteria tables is it is tables and separate chairs. And that is very labor intensive, where every day we are setting up and putting away an inordinate number of chairs, including the tables. So what this purchase will do is will eliminate the chairs. So it'll be the tables with attached seating. So that will create significant efficiency for our custodial staff.
What happens to all the other tables and chairs?
So we have a disposal policy. So the our first step is to determine if there's a market value for the item, in this case cafeteria tables and chairs, in which case we try to sell them at market value. If they don't have a market value, we offer them up to other schools or charitable organizations, and then as a last resort, if no one wants them, then it would be thrown out.
I think they're
However,
all in good shape. I bet somebody's gonna want them, I can imagine.
They seem like
you know.
they're in good shape. When
Yeah.
so I know we've already started outreach, and I anticipate that at a minimum that people will take them for free. So.
Right.
So the administration is recommending award of bid to Hertz Furniture Systems in the amount of $55,114.80. And like I said, funding is from the food service surplus.
I have a quick question for you. Are the tables roughly the same size that we have now? Do you know, like, how many people
I think
per?
we're moving to like 8-person round tables with the individual seats, is my recollection.
Yes, as a
Seating capacity will still have the same seating
Right,
capacity.
but the tables will become,
So you'll be able to, they have 8 individual seats, circular
as
tables.
opposed to like 10 or 12. That's a
Well,
bit
right
more.
now there's 6, but because of the movable chairs, there's anywhere from
Yeah.
6 to 15, which this will.
Oh,
that
I'm
becomes a problem, so this
anticipating
will
questions from my
eliminate and
teenagers.
help solve some of that.
Right.
Yeah. Can we all sit?
Right. Except for the
They,
one person.
they
who's
find
left
a
out.
way to share.
Yeah. I know. Right. I was just curious, like, yeah.
Good question.
Oh, I'll make a motion to award the cafeteria table purchase bid to Hertz Furniture Systems in the amount of $55,114.80.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Thank you. We don't have anything in personnel, right?
Do not.
We do not. So, Our future meetings are SAU 21 Operations Committee meeting Thursday, January 18th. SAU 21 Policy Committee meeting Monday, January 22nd, 2024. SAU 21 Joint Board meeting Monday, January 29th, 2024. Winnacunnet School Board meeting and deliberative session is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. We have nothing in non-public either.
Will that be our February meeting, or do we have?
Yes, that's gonna be our February meeting
Okay.
also.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually do that right before the deliberative, and then once after the
Yeah.
deliberative, then we come back in, and then we go back into our meeting, so that if there's changes that were made at the deliberative session, then we can discuss those too, so,
Okay.
yeah, it's usually, we keep it pretty tight on the February meeting,
And what is the March meeting? Is it after the election?
after the election,
Is it
yeah.
right after? Is it the Wednesday after or the
It's
following week?
20th, so it's
Okay.
the week after.
Okay,
The week after.
okay.
And actually, yeah, that, normally it would be the 13th, but we move it just in case there's any issue
Right,
with the
right, because sometimes you need so many
recount
days.
or, yeah.
Yes.
And you need to have, like, it be sworn in too, to
Right.
be able to
Exactly.
sit on the, you know, so.
It has to
You
be
find
right.
out at 12 o'clock midnight that you, that you won
to
your
be
seat,
ready.
and then it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, what do I have to do? So, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
next week.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem. Anything else that anybody needs?
Nope.
And could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yay. Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?